Living longer, living healthier, living better than ever before. Welcome to Mountain Pacific's Healthy Living for Life, a weekly series that gives you the information, education, and expert insight you need to become an active participant in today's ever-changing healthcare climate. Here now is today's program host.
Summer is here and so is the heat. If you think the sun and hot weather weigh on you more than they used to, you're probably right. As we age, we have more trouble dealing with heat for a number of reasons. So what can you do about it? That's exactly what we're going to talk about today. I'm your host, Lisa Sather. Welcome to Healthy Living for Life, a show dedicated to helping you do just that. Stay with us, we'll be right back. Thanks for joining us this morning. Heat stroke, sunstroke, heat exhaustion. We've all heard these terms, but how are they different? And why do we have more trouble coping with the heat as we age? I'm here this morning with Dr. Richard Sargent, who's going to help answer some of these questions for us. Good morning, Dr. Sargent.
Good morning.
Thanks for being here.
Thank you.
So let's start out by talking about why older adults have trouble dealing with temperature changes, and why are summers harder on them than they used to be?
Well, people used to die younger, and they didn't get as sick as they do now. We pour thousands of pills into people every day. A lot of those pills help to decrease your ability to handle heat. We use a lot of pills that help to squeeze water out of you, and the way we handle heat is by squeezing water out of us in the form of sweat. Heat stroke, heat exhaustion, and heat cramps all come from dehydration and a lack of salt, and we all know sweat is salty. Mm-hmm. So when we decrease all of those things, we start to set ourselves up for the problems that come from heat. As we go through that, when we get people who are already compromised, their heart's already compromised, they're diabetic and they're losing fluid that way, they have less reserve capacity than they used to have.
Makes sense. So any of these factors definitely can put seniors at risk for serious illnesses related to heat, but we've heard that the best cure for heat-related illnesses is stopping them before they start, right? So do you have some tips on how to prevent heat-related illnesses?
Boy, I brought every kind of prop I could today to get this thing going. The first thing I want to tell people is, look, it's often cooler outside. If you live in a trailer in Miles City, Montana with no shade around it, if you go out to the north side of that trailer, it's going to be cooler because you're living in an oven, a solar oven, but an oven. So today, here in the studio, it's 69 degrees, but outside in this morning on the west side, it's 45. So it's 25 degrees cooler outside right now. Now, that's not going to be the case on a hot summer day at noon or 2 o'clock in the afternoon, unless you're living inside a trailer with no ventilation and no air conditioning. But you've got to keep that track of that. So this handy-dandy little indoor-outdoor thermometer could save your life because you'll recognize when it's cooler outside. The other way we use it at our house is when it's cooler outside than it is inside, we open the doors, put on the fans, and start blowing air through the house to cool off the house. On top of that, there's several other things you can do. I think the most important one that I ran across as we were doing this, and I didn't realize it when I started, is you need to turn off the lights. Lights are an incredible source of heat, and if you're sitting here in front of studio lights, you understand that. Mm-hmm. But I've got this little prop here. I've had this light on for, 20 minutes, and right now room temperature is about 75 degrees by this thermometer. Each light has a certain amount of temperature that it sets off. This is an incandescent light. It is literally the hottest light out there. When you measure the top of the globe of the light, it can get up to, are you ready for this? 439 degrees.
Oh my goodness.
Don't touch the top of it. It gets pretty warm. If you look at a compact fluorescent light, the reason it doesn't put out as much heat is not that it doesn't get as hot, it's that it doesn't use as much electricity to generate the same amount of light. So a compact fluorescent light gets up to about 221 degrees on the glass. And it doesn't put out as much heat simply because lower wattage. And then this dandy little LED light here, I put in this lamp, left it on for 5 hours with my thermometer on top of it, and the thermometer got clear up to 110 in 5 hours. Now, if you look over here, we've gone from 70 to 95, just as I've been talking about this. I can tell you if I leave it on there for about 2 minutes, it'll get up to 160 very quickly. And if you leave it on for an hour or more, what you basically got is your Susie Homemaker Easy Bake Oven that actually ran off a 100-watt light bulb and could get up to 500 degrees very easily.
Wow.
So there we go. We're up to 100 degrees, and we've done it just as I've been talking.
So turn your lights off when
Oh, really?
you want to lower the temperature,
turn those
right?
lights off. It'll cool off, yeah. But it gets dark, too. There's some other things you can do to help cut that down.
Yes.
Light comes through windows as light, then it hits something inside, and it gets turned to infrared. And when it turns to infrared, it's warm. So when you're wearing black, you're going to get hotter than when you're wearing light-colored clothing.
Good to know.
Now that works when you're outside too, and when you're outside you want to avoid lights. So you put on a hat to shade your face, and you put on, this is a blue shirt, but a white shirt would work too. I've got light-colored pants on, and they're very light fabric. That means they're going to breathe, so when I sweat, the air can get through the clothing and it will start to cool me off. But on top of that, I'm cutting down on the amount of light hitting my skin. And we all have short sleeve shirts and shorts, and we think that's what you wear in hot weather. But if you're working in hot weather, this is actually a better outfit.
Great. Well, we have about a minute left. Can you show us maybe some of your other props real quick?
Well, if you want to cool off, I have this dandy little rice sock, which we have used in the past to put in the microwave and warm up. Yeah,
Very
it's
nice
cool,
and cool.
isn't it?
Yes,
It's been in the
that's
freezer
great.
for about 3 days. The other thing I have here today is my $20 room air conditioner that I put together off of something I found on the internet. It's just a styrofoam box with a piece of ice in it and a fan duct taped to the top. And when we turn it on, I'll have to turn this at you because I know you're warmer than I am.
Well, I appreciate that.
Other things you can do. Water bottles, yes, you need to drink water. Remember, you're trying to sweat. If you're trying to sweat, you got to have something to put out, and you want to drink a lot of water. So I've got a couple of different ones that are insulated. That works real nice. You can use a little spray mister, and that mist actually cools the air, right?
Great. Well,
Okay.
Thank you. We're out of time. Up next, thank you, Dr. Sargent. We'll have Kelly Batenko, emergency responder. Thank you. Stay tuned.